While I hadn't thumbed through the district handbook in a while, I was pretty certain there were rules against using contracted time to work on a side hustle. However, that didn't stop me from answering podcast-related emails while my students were busy with online math work on their school-provided laptops. STEM for the Win had grown into something bigger than I'd ever imagined when I initially sat down to record the first episode. Now I found myself scheduling interviews with podcast guests, selling workbooks to other teachers, and struggling to keep up with all of my social media accounts. It had reached a point in which I either needed to hire someone to help me run the business, or accept it was time to give up certain aspects of it. The increasing chatter amongst my afternoon students pulled me out of my email trance. My class swapped with Sarah's for an hour and 15 minutes each day. Her students came to my room for math and science instruction while she taught my students reading and grammar. The two other fifth grade rooms did the same. Not only did it help prepare our students for middle school, it allowed us to teach to our strengths. I'd taught English language arts before. I didn't like it. I was still processing the traumatic ending of Bridge to Terabithia years after the fact. That kind of stuff was better left to Sarah anyway. I looked up from my computer and watched Bentley Brooks fold his science study guide into a paper airplane. I was fine with this until I saw him pick it up and pull it back over his shoulder, aiming it toward Noah Simon's head. "What you got there, Bentley?" I asked. Every head in the classroom turned from me to Bentley as he lowered the paper airplane and dropped it on his desk. He didn't respond. So I stood up and strolled over to him with my hands in my pockets. A few kids oohed like I was going to pick up the kid and throw him out to the hall or something. Instead, I bent down and picked up the paper airplane, turning it over in my hands to assess its construction. "Just how far do you expect this to fly?" Bentley just gave me an apathetic shrug. I flattened the paper out on his desk, letting him assume for a second I was trying to return the study guide to its original form. But instead, I refolded the paper airplane the way my brother, Jake, taught me to make them when I was around Bentley's age. "See, here's how you have to fold it if you want to make it more aerodynamic," I said, running my finger along one of the folds. "You want the wings to push the air backwards and downward, thrust and lift. Think about what it feels like when you stick your hand out the car window. Have you ever done that before?" Bentley was too stubborn to answer, but he and all of the kids within earshot were listening and watching intently, so I continued.